Hello there. Today we are flashing back to 2016. I thought it would be fun to go down memory lane as I explained in my last video. There's been this trend going around on Instagram and people are doing a flashback to 2016, and then I've been seeing people talking about how makeup trends are going back to 2016 makeup. You may have heard that. And I thought, you know, what a great time to do this for me because my channel was started in 2016. So if you want to know more about that, about the start of my channel, how I named my channel, all of that, I'll link the video that I did right before this up here. Now for today, I thought it would be fun to flash back to the second video that I ever uploaded on my channel. And you know, 3 guesses, but the first 2 don't count. What do you think it was? It was an eyeshadow tutorial, and it was using one of my favorite palettes back then, and for me still all time, it's the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. So my favorite palette at the moment, which is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. It has some beautiful fall shades. I'm gonna recreate that look with a few little minor tweaks that I don't do anymore. Maybe I did in that video, don't do anymore, but we're gonna keep it pretty true to that time. So in that video, I started with a full face of foundation and my brows done because I was too insecure to appear on camera with absolutely no makeup on. So it took me a while to build up my security in order to be able to appear without any makeup on. And even still, sometimes I'm like, ooh. So we're gonna start off. I am going to do the brow bone highlight shade. And in that video, I used a brow bone highlight shade from the KVD, or it was Kat Von D back then, the Shade and Light palette. And that doesn't exist. I don't have it anymore. So I'm gonna go into my True Beauty palette. It's kind of funny to be using this in a 2016 flashback video because I would have never imagined, like this was truly something that would have been in my wildest dreams to create an eyeshadow palette. And lo and behold, last year, 2025, I was able to do that with Dalton. So I am only though going to use this one shade from this palette. And then we're going to do the rest with this Modern Renaissance palette. Now, I have since repurchased a fresh one. This is not the same palette I used 10 years ago. I repurchased it at some point when it was on sale and then kept it, you know, preserved and brand new until I was ready to pull it out. I probably pulled it out last year. So it's pretty fresh. This shade Tempura, we may use this at the end, but it's super, super brightening. So if you're a little paler than I am, I have some Sunless Tanner on, just like I did in that video. So that's why we didn't use that. So for starters, we're gonna go in the crease with a combination of these 2 shades. And I'm gonna use the BK Beauty 201 brush. And in that video, I used predominantly all Morphe brushes, but none of those Morphe brushes are made anymore. Morphe has a couple of times changed or updated their brushes. And so I am using similar styles of brushes that I used in that video. So just putting this all through the crease. The look today is going to be very fall. I even tried to find the same or similar nail color to what I was wearing in that video. And so just painted my nails, even though it's more fall because that video was done in the fall of 2016. So that is why the colors of my first eyeshadow tutorial were very fall inspired, but that's okay. I love these colors. So next I went in with the shade Real Gar. And I made the comment that this is a very bright orange, but not quite Bronco orange. It's kind of funny to go back and watch my old video. If you have not seen it, I'll link it down below. It's quite funny to go back and watch, just like I showed you clips of my very, very first hair tutorial in my last video. You can go back and just see, I mean, obviously my hairstyle is different, but what is so funny is in both of my first 2 videos, my dog that we had at the time appeared in those videos. So see, even back then, it was meant to be that I would have a dog involved in my videos. So I love that shade. Oh, it's so pretty. I feel like this is gonna get covered up as we go along, but that's okay. I'm trying to remember the order of shadows that I did in that video. Okay, and then next I went in with a black eyeliner. So it was the day of black liners. Now, I rarely pull out my black eyeliner anymore. Usually I'm doing dark brown, but I thought, okay, for this, we'll pull out black for the upper lash line. We're gonna change up the lower lash line. And I just happened to have this is the Win Beauty eyeliner. I was going through cleaning out stuff and saw this and was about to get rid of it. And then I watched a video just this morning for somebody else saying this eyeliner from Win Beauty is so amazing. And I'm like, well, maybe we'll use that. So we'll see how this goes. But basically, I am not going to keep a solid black line. So I am just using this super close to the lashes. And then I'm going to use a smudge brush to smudge it out, which is ironically something that I still make a practice of regularly doing. The only difference is, yeah, I usually don't get quite this dark and smoky at the lash line, but boy, we were all about the black liner and liquid liner, and it was a fun time though. Really? Right? You agree with me? And the other funny thing in that video is I was using brushes that were quite dirty. And by the way, I'm going in with the BK Beauty 204 brush to smudge that out. And just as I'm doing today, my brushes are rather dirty because ironically, I am actually planning a brush cleaning video with a new product. Well, it's new to me. I'm going to be testing out. It just so happens in that video, my third video, I think it was the third one that I ever posted on my channel, was a brush cleaning video. It just all comes full circle. Okay, now we're gonna go in with this shade Cypress Umber. And I'm gonna go right over that black and just smudge it out and work that kind of up into the outer crease. And then we'll go back to the brush. This is actually the Morphe M433. I don't think you can get it anymore. But then I went in with this shade Red Ochre. Oh, one of my all-time favorite shades in this palette. And I'm going to use this now to just kind of blend all of those colors in towards the inner corner. And I thought as I was watching it back, I'm like, did I do an all matte eye? That would have been really unusual for me. Nope, I didn't, but stay tuned. We did have a little bit of fun here on the inner corner. And one more blend. Okay, and then on the inner corner, what I did, and this is the same brush that I had in that video. It's from Sigma. You can't read any of the writing. This is the E60, and I do have, I think, 2 more of these in my collection, but I ironically had this in my brush little cart there. Okay, and we're gonna go back to this shade, which is Real Gar, and I'm going to put this kind of, I'm not going all the way to the corner, but going to put this here. And then we're gonna create our own kind of shimmer shade that has some orange in it. So in that video, I was doing this, I was mixing colors way back then, because in this palette, there are these 2 shimmer shades, and then we have kind of this antique bronze shade. And I said I wanted something more coppery. So we went with the orange matte, and then over the top of it with a combination of these 2. I'm gonna go in with my finger. I did not use my finger in that video. We'll see if this puts too much shimmer over the top of that. And then I'll go back with my brush that has the Real Gar on it and just kind of go back and forth between those 2. Let's see if this works. All right, I'm gonna flip over that brush and I'm gonna go in with just the gold, which is Primavera. Oh yes, I used to know all these names. This was a palette that got so much love in my collection. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. It's a very subtle shimmery look there on the inner corner. And then just gonna go back to this brush, kind of blend all of that together. As a finishing touch, I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of burnt orange on the 201 from BK Beauty and just lightly kind of blend that up into the brow bone highlight, and we'll touch up the inner corner when we get there, but let's go to the lower lash line. In that video, I lined my waterline, my inner rim. I don't do that anymore. Lots of reasons, but I'll link the main reason up here. But instead, I'm just gonna go to the lower lash line below the lashes, and I'm using Tiger's Eye from Dalton. And I am just going to put a little bit of this along, like real close to the lashes. And then we're gonna go over it with a little bit of shadow. So I'm gonna use the E15 from Sigma. And I think, oh, let's see. I don't really remember what shadows I put down there. So we'll start with Cypress Umber here in the outer corner, just to kind of connect that. And then I am going to do a little bit, actually, I think I'm gonna do a little red ochre. I know that sounds crazy, red, but this color, red ochre, it's so pretty. It really is just a reddish brown, and it brings out green eyes like crazy. And then I'm gonna finish up with a little bit of combination of raw sienna and burnt orange. And I'm just going to roughly, just quickly put that on the lower lash line, smudge it there, and let's do the other side. Okay, I applied concealer and powder, and now the next thing in that video that I shared was bronzer, and ironically, the bronzer I used was the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I still have 2 shades. I have the original bronzer shade, it's just called bronzer, and then this is Endless Summer. I think in that video I had deep bronze, and I don't have that in my collection anymore. So we're gonna do just a combination of the bronzer shade and Endless Summer, but ironically, I still have the same brush I used in that video. It is the Sedona Lace 919. I don't even know if this company is still around anymore, but they made some good brushes, obviously. And this is how I applied it. I didn't do any contouring per se in that video. I do use a little bit of this on my nose to contour my nose, but I wasn't doing any of the real cool tone contour back then, but it was coming. It was coming. I just didn't include it in that video. So I'm just putting a little bit of this. Okay, so this is the light one, or bronzer, I should say. It does have, I think the Physicians Formula now has a light bronze shade as well, but the bronzer shade is given me a little color. And then I'll put a little bit on my nose. And this is a different actual physical brush than I had in that video, but from the same company, the Lorac contour brush. I feel like this one is now a little fluffier than it used to be. Nonetheless, let's use that to contour the nose. And I might need to be pulling this brush out again. Wow, that was easy, wasn't it? Oh my goodness. Okay, why has this not been used? It's been sitting again in my brush cart, unused, unloved. All right, I am gonna go in with just a tiny bit of Endless Summer. I feel like I need a little more depth there, the outer part of the cheek and the forehead. I always forget how good this bronzer is. It's just so nice. It's not flat matte, but it's no sparkle or shimmer, just really nice. And then for blush, I was going through my collection trying to find a color that's similar. I used a combo of 2 e.l.f. blushes in that video to do kind of a peachy pink blush. And I think this one from YSL isn't that funny. 2 e.l.f. blushes, now we're at YSL, but this is a gray color, one of my favorites, and this is 06. And I'm just gonna use a little bit of this because you want something kind of neutral. Didn't wanna compete with the eyes. And then on the lips, we're gonna do something very similar. I don't think I have the same exact lip product that I had in that video anymore, but I have something that will replicate the overall look. Okay, that's really pretty. And then I did apply highlighter, and it was a Makeup Geek Kathleen Lights collaboration. And I was looking at the description box going, what? And then I showed the product. I was like, oh yeah, I remember those highlighters. Well, I, again, don't have those anymore, but I did pull out the Bobbi Brown. This was one of the shimmery, what is this? The highlighting powder. And I remember the first time I got one of the Shimmer bricks, I think they used to be called, from Bobbi Brown. Again, I don't have those anymore, but I think this color is going to replicate the one that I used in that video, kind of more of a peachy champagne. And this one's called Pink Glow. I don't know if they make this anymore, but I remember the first time I got a Bobbi Brown highlighter and I was just so excited because it was such a high-end product, and obviously still is, and I just loved it. And I'm staying away from my texture here. That's pretty. I think this one does show a little bit. There's a little bit of some shimmer particles, I think, on the skin. Another highlighter that I remember being just so big, even before 2016, was the Mary Luminizer from the Balm. I should go through my backups. I think I have a fresh one of those. I should pull that out. But this gave me a good, nice little bit of glow. And then I used to always put this right here and a little on the bridge of the nose. I never got into the tip of the nose, but there. And then I did go back and we did inner corner highlight. That's stayed with me from 2016 on. And for now, let's go in. I'm going to do a little bit of tempera first, just to kind of brighten. And then we'll go back with, I think I'm going to use Primavera and just kind of use this to brighten the inner corner just a little bit. My brain quit there for a second. Like, what am I doing? Oh yeah, we're brightening the inner corner. Oh goodness. I feel like I want a little more of that gold on the lid there. Curling my lashes. I don't know that I was big into curling my lashes back then because I hadn't found the right shape for my eyes. So I didn't see what the fuss was about, but now it's a must. This is the Rougher 20R eyelash curler. And then for mascara, it was so fun to see my mascara combo. So I started off with the L'Oreal Voluminous Primer, and this was new at that time. And I think I said I could find it at Walmart for around $7. Yeah, I think this is about $12 now. You know, prices go up. And then the mascara I used was the CoverGirl Super Length. I think it was called Super Length or something. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was a fantastic mascara. Why did they get rid of it? I don't know. So instead today, I think, I'm going to do, I think, a combination of these two. So this is the Essence mascara. I do love this one. It does flake just a little bit on me. I know some of you have said that you struggle with that as well. I find with this primer, it does help prevent that. And then as far as smudging on the lower lash line, I usually have to go in with a tubing mascara if this is the mascara that I'm using, but we'll try it today with this primer and just see if that helps it stay in place. All right, and this is the Essence Lash Princess, and this is the False Lash Effect. So I know everybody always describes these by the color of the packaging, the green one. I fixed my hair, now it's time for lips, and in that video I used the NYX Nutmeg lip pencil. That was one of my all-time favorites. I used it for years, but I realized one of the reasons why it worked for me well was because that was the era of matte liquid lipsticks, and we have come back. We're making our way back to that. But the NYX lip pencils, while they're great, they never did a really perfect job at keeping my lipstick and lip gloss from bleeding past my lip lines, and they weren't as long wearing as some that I love now from the drugstore, namely the Maybelline Lifter liners or the Revlon. These are the multi-liner, Color Stay multi-liners. So I have these two shades, and I feel like Nutmeg is kind of in between these two. I'm gonna start with the Revlon one, and then we'll see if that is dark enough. So I'm gonna go around the edge of my lips with this. Also, one thing that I did not do in that video because I hadn't discovered it yet was using the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot around the edge of my lips. I did do that before coming on camera again here. I don't think I said the name of this one. This one is Dynamic Doer. And then the Maybelline one I pulled out is Out of Line. Out of Line is definitely warmer. So there's Out of Line, and it has a little bit of pink tones. So I think Dynamic Doer is what we'll stick with. Now for lipstick, in that video, I used one of the, what was new at the time, Smashbox liquid lipsticks. And I actually did enjoy those for a couple of years, especially when I was doing something that was similar to Invisalign for my teeth. I was doing the kind of clear braces thing, and that was the only type of lip product I could keep off of those. And I had to have something on my lips. So after that was done, and I feel like in the beauty industry as a whole, the pendulum swung all the way over to just glossy lips. We're not doing anything matte. And now the pendulum is coming back and we are seeing matte lips, but with an update, and it's like with this blurred look. And Merit just came out with their version of this matte blurring balm. And they just sent me these 3 shades. I've not even tried these on the lips yet. So we're gonna do that together. And I think this shade right here, Bespoke, I've got them swatched on my hand. So this is Bespoke, this is Archival, and this is Vendomi, something like that. So I feel like between these two, either one of those would work with my look today. I actually really love that shade as well. So we might actually do a combination. Let's try this lighter shade on first, and then we can deepen it up with Bespoke. But the packaging on Merit lipsticks, I just absolutely love. I think it's amazing. And these, actually, I don't detect any scent whatsoever. Their regular lipsticks, I think, have like more of a vanilla scent, but these nothing. Okay, let's try this. It feels like kind of just a chapstick, you know, kind of like a waxy kind of beige chapstick. But let's see what it does to my lip lines, because I have a lot of lip lines. And actually, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but I feel like it subtly disguised them. Let's go in though with Bespoke. I think we need a little more color. Let's go in with this one. That texture, it's so nice. So again, you feel it's almost, there's like that slip to it. It's almost like a powder kind of slip, but it's not drying feeling. I love that combo. I think this is our combo for today. Definitely going to be putting one of these in my purse. I think that is so, it's such an interesting texture. And like I said, it's almost like one of those cream to powder blushes. That's how it feels on the lips. Like you can touch it and I mean, there's a little tack and, you know, colors transferring, but I don't know, it feels very pillowy and lightweight on the lips. Okay, let me move my mirror out of the way. All right, so now here is our 2016 look. And overall, I still love it. The only thing I feel like is a major difference in things that I would do differently now is, again, instead of pulling in the black liner on the upper lash line, I would tone that back down to just a dark brown. And then on the lower lash line, I would also kind of pull back a little bit there and do a little lighter. And then blush. It's funny looking back at some of my videos, but you know, blush wasn't a big deal back then. I mean, we were doing really, really minimal blush. And I feel like this is that minimal blush look, which I don't hate personally, but I do feel like I've gotten used to myself with a little more color on the cheeks. So I find myself going, ooh, maybe we need a little more blush. But I think as is, and with this lip combination, I'm actually really pleased with how it turned out. And with all of that, that wraps up today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Check the description box down below. I will have links to all of the products that I used today, as well as links to those other videos that I referenced throughout this video. And for those of you who have been with me for almost 10 years, wow, thank you so much. And if you just subscribed today, I am so grateful for you as well. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.